And honestly, when the schedule came out and the league announced the matchups we were going to get, they knew week 3. They knew what they were doing when they was giving us this matchup.
We doing everything they talk about. You know I'm everything a boss about. Not putting work and gotta toss them.
Week 3's here, and we're here to talk about it. Athletes Forum Podcast. Shout out to the locker room. That's you guys. Continue to come in and join in on the conversation. We made it to week 3 of the European League of Football. The league gave us another great slate of games that we're going to dive into. A little bit of one by one. Obviously, the game of the week, we got Vikings Fire. I won't dive into that one too much just because I did a deep dive with First Down Magazine. You could catch their show on the First Down Magazine show. You catch their link in the description below to check it out. They also had a great interview on there. But again, league did a great job at giving us, some of these matchups that we have, and we're gonna dive in and we're gonna talk about them. All right. Athletes Forum locker room, you know how this works. Along the way, drop a comment and we're gonna talk about it below. The first game we're gonna dive into is kind of a underrated rivalry, and I'm talking about Prague Lions and the Fehervar Enthroners. This rivalry goes back to pre-ELF days when they played in European Championship matchups, and these two have been going back and forth. They share the same territory roughly, and this is going to be a good game because I think Prague, they're both 0-2. All right, you are what your record is, but one team in Prague has shown they have gotten a lot better, and the other team in the Enthroners, not the greatest start, but I think we'll have a better idea. We'll have a better idea of who each team is, during these two matchups, right? Excited to see what Javarian Smith looks like in this matchup. Willie P, he's going to be a game changer in this matchup. All right. Do they get Jalen Embry back for that defense to be full when I'm talking about Prague? The Enthroners, I'm almost speechless when I'm talking about the Enthroners just because I don't know where to begin. I don't know where to start. I don't know what improvement looks like for them. And that's why I'm waiting to watch this game to kind of see, all right, where do they actually stand? Because that game last week, they're not in the same category as Vikings. They're in the league, but you really can't judge them based on that performance. And the Panthers game, I thought they could have put up a better fight, but hey, we'll see what happens. So I'm excited to see how this game works out. I'm rocking with Prague Lions to win this game. I think defensively, they have a better defense. I don't see anybody on the Enthroners secondary that's guarding, Will and P. Javarian Smith's going to provide a different element when it comes to the run game. Still waiting to see some production from these defensive imports for the Enthroners, but I think this is the game they could possibly show up. However, Prague Lions got a lot of bulk and strength in that offensive line, and rightfully so. Adam Drzelka could be a good game. I just think Prague, better team, better weapons, better talent, rocking with the Prague Lions to win this game. All right, next game we got the Raiders versus the Cologne Centurions. One team coming off a much-needed bye after a week 1 debacle versus the Berlin Thunder. Another team coming off a win, however, bittersweet. They did lose Connor Miller. Not sure if he's going to return this game. We'll see how it plays out. But there's questions, right? Cologne got a new quarterback. Who is the Raiders quarterback, right? You can't just – maybe you could in this game. I don't know what Helvetic was doing last week, but maybe you can just rely on the run game, right? I like Ja'Cory Sullivan in this game, right? I think – let me rephrase that. I like Ja'Cory Sullivan if they have a passing game that is going to show that they could operate without Connor Miller if he's not there. If he is there, obviously business is business. However, they do got, running backs, for the Raiders. Defense is playing well. Dijon Walls has been playing great. I talked about that my last episode when I went through the power rankings. He's someone who's impressed me. He might get another pick this week. We don't know what this Keegan McCormick guy is about. We're going to find out. This game is going to be a wild card game. I don't know what's going to happen. I would feel that I wouldn't be doing my due diligence by giving you wrong information about this game. However, I do want to point out Austin Osborne is someone, American import receiver for the Cologne Centurions, and someone that has been a bright spot for this offense. How do the Raiders really focus on him and really guard him? We should see how this pans out. I'm not messing with this one. I'm going with the Raiders to win this game. But if Cologne surprises me, I will be excited for them. I'm not gonna lie. I will be excited if Cologne surprise me. Even if they lose, did you improve from week 1? That's the biggest question I have for the Cologne Centurions. When thinking about this game right here. All right, next game we got the Surge versus the Hamburg Sea Devils. Let me just get this out the way. I do not see a way Surge lose back-to-back games. I just don't see it. I like Hamburg. I like Hamburg's defense. I'm one that's been high on Hamburg. I picked them to win their first 2 games. I don't see the Surge losing this game, even though they are coming off a loss. Defense play well. Offense, they will get things fixed. If there's one thing about Jordan Newman, he's a trustworthy coach. He turned around a team that went 2-20 their first 2 years in the league. You think he's not going to have this team ready after a loss to Paris? I doubt that. I think the Surge are going to win this game. I'm giving my pick now. Curious to see what Tua Tagovailoa looks like, right? I don't expect their offensive game plan to be too complex, especially he's only been there for 2 weeks. Does he even have like the right chemistry with his receivers? We'll see. I'm pretty sure they're going to rely heavy on the run game or someone on the run game. Maybe use Tala's legs a little bit, keep reads easy, keep throws easy, keeps concept easy. I think this offense will develop more as we go down the road. But again, like Hamburg, don't like him in this game. I'm picking the Surge to get the win in this game. All right, next one. Hey. There's not much to say here. Helvetic plays Madrid. Madrid, this is going to be a bounce-back game for them. Their offense looked electric last week. And, this is the one where style makes fights. This is not a good fight for Helvetic. This is a great fight for Madrid. They're going to bounce back recently. It's going to probably gonna have a good game. Aaron Krushank is unguardable. Shout out to New Jersey. Aaron Krushank is unguardable. You can't – there's no one – at least I've seen in the first 2 weeks that's going to cover him man-to-man. He's always open in the zones. He is a great compliment to Juan Flores Calderon. And again, I talked about this in my ranking show. Weidiger's offense puts the linebackers in conflict, right? And a good OC knows how to put players in conflict, right? Because if you're going to play zone against Madrid, right, then you're going to have to decide, all right, like, am I getting to the right depth? Am I dropping a little bit too far to hold the window a little bit? And right when you do that, Reed's just going to dump it to Justin Seelig and Nico Barrow, and they're going to get 5, 10, 15 a pop just on a little dump pass. That's a concept of what their run game is, right? So we'll see how Helvetic's going to decide to play defense against Madrid. They didn't do a good job against a team that they knew was one-dimensional last week versus the Raiders. And their passing defense is probably, for me, the weakness of that defense. So we'll see how it pans out. Madrid don't have to worry about much of a pass rush in this game or the concern of one. I think this might be a game Alejandro Fernandez maybe gets back on track or maybe gets on track, maybe gets his first sack. We'll see. Keelan Cole, not going to lie, I've expected a little bit more. Maybe it's the age. Maybe it's her. I don't know. Expect a little bit more. Milan Spiller, we're not seeing the same production. Isaiah Weed has no time. Bovell, we'll love to see him get in the run game a little more. All in all, Helvetic has to play better. Do they play better this game? I hope so. I don't think it's enough. I'm rocking with Madrid to win this game. All right, the next game we got. One of my favorite games this week, Paris versus Frankfurt. We're all high on Paris. This is the perfect letdown spot, right? First 2 games at home, offense hasn't been clicking. Just got off a big win, 6-0. Coming on the road now. Everyone's on the bandwagon. You're high on everyone's rankings. This is the perfect letdown game for Paris, right? Their defense has been great. I've said it a couple times on a couple different podcasts. Del Rio's building the 2000 Ravens defense with this Ryan Fire defense, and I'm excited to watch them and see their continued growth throughout the season. When you look at Frankfurt, I think they might have found their offense, right? How does Paris stop the outside zone or the stretch play that Frankfurt likes to run, right? How do you keep McKay in pocket instead of on the ground using his legs? They struggled with that versus the Fire when Chad Jeffries got loose a couple times. I think McKay using his legs could be the difference maker. I think they got weapons on the outside in Terry Wright and Nico Shaman. We also got Paul Leinhart, who was a great value pick coming in at $1.8 million in regards to fantasy points, who you can pick up this week. Frankfurt, my biggest question for Frankfurt is their defense. Their secondary is not what I thought. Their run defense is not what I thought. But you're going up against an offense that hasn't proven to put up a lot of points, right? In 2 games, this offense has put up 21 points. 21 points in 2 games, right? not the production you thought or hope if you're a Paris fan, especially after you saw what your team looked like 2 years ago with Magic Zach and Mark Marioli running the offense. So we'll see how Luke Del Rio can get creative and get this offense rolling. This is going to be the perfect team to do it against because, again, Frankfurt's defense hasn't shown to be that great. And obviously, they gave up 30 against the Surge. They gave up, I forgot the number, against Madrid. But, we'll see. I'm rocking with Frankfurt in this game. I'm rocking with Frankfurt because I think this game, I think the Madrid game got them back on track. I think Frankfurt's offense is a lot better than people get credit for. I do concern them about their defense. I am concerned about their defense. I'm not going to lie there. However, Frankfurt is a hard place to play. Just ask your 2022 ELF champion Vienna Vikings when they went to Frankfurt and they lost, right? That's probably one of the only in-season loss Vienna has had in the 4 years of being in the ELF. Frankfurt's a hard place to play. Even Ryan Fire, when they first got into the league, had a close game, came down to a field goal week 1 in Frankfurt, right? And it's their home opener. Purple Hell, they're going to show out. Purple Hell's going to show out this game. I'm rocking with Frankfurt to pull off what some may consider an upset. I don't know. I just think Frankfurt I think Frankfurt's the better team this week. All right. Next game we got. The ELF knew what they were doing when they created the schedule and they gave us this matchup, Berlin at Nordic week 3. But not only that, we get the OG QB rivalry, the Brady Peyton Manning rivalry of the ELF, and that is, drumroll, J.J. Clark and Jacob Sullivan. These two have been going back and forth, head-to-head since week 1, year 1 in the European League of Football, all the way to the championship and a couple other times in between. Obviously, different teams now, but this rivalry is, you could call it a rivalry. It's like a friendly QB quarterback rivalry that I like to watch, and I'm going to be watching this game in Norwich first home game. But this one's always going to be exciting. Berlin's a team, they showed they could throw up some numbers, but they've yet to find a run game. Even when they had Jock Crawford in the first 2 years, their run game wasn't crazy, but it was better than what it is now. But since then, they haven't really had a run game, right? Jenny Adams gets hurt. Does he play this week? Yet to find out. We'll see. Nordic's a team that's clicking on all cylinders right now. I like Nordic, in this game. And keep in mind, out of all the quarterbacks in the European League of Football, Jacob Sullivan is the only one really left that has beaten J.J. Clark. I'm trying to think about it now with all the leagues in here. Yep, because there's no Magic Zag. Yep. So when you think about all the quarterbacks in the league, the only one who was really beaten J.J. or who has beaten J.J. is Jacob. All right. It shows the dominance of one quarterback, but also the competitiveness of another, and the battle that these two have had since, again, week 1, year 1, when Jadrian beat Frankfurt, but also Jacob got the last laugh that season and beat Jadrian in the championship. This is going to be a fun game. I'm excited for it. I'm rocking with Nordic to win this game. And then the last game of the week, again, such a beautiful grudge match. We got the Vienna Vikings go to Rhine Fire. I talked a lot about this game on First Down Magazine, so I won't dive too deep into it. But what I am curious to see is what did Vienna learn from that championship game, and they're going to carry it over to play the Rhine Fire, right? They haven't really been tested their first 2 weeks playing against the Enthroners, playing against the Prague Lions. This is really their first real test, right? You're a little banged up, Meyer and Kari. I don't know if they're going to play this week. We're yet to find out, but we'll see. This defense is a lot better. Obviously, you just signed Aaron Donkor. To pair him up with Lucky Ogboy and Thomas Schaefer in the middle, not to mention you got Swacker and Timmy Nuka in the back. I think Lalo's a defensive back that's growing on me. You got Devin Burrell. You got a lot of talent on this Vienna defense. But now you're going against a Rhine Fire that's a little bit different, a little bit more mobile and fluid. Chad Jeffries, way better at using his legs. And I've said it a million times, it's not a huge drop-off in regards to him and Jadrian when everything else besides the running back is the same. Obviously, you got Harlan Kofi, Rory Starkey Jr., who I'm excited to see in this game. I want to see more out of him. My biggest question after the Rhine Fire played Paris was, how is this offense in the pass game going to develop? Because they didn't really do too much, right? They didn't really get going. They were a little rusty, so to say, right? Coming off a bye week, maybe they fix those things. Jordan Bua, right? He's back in the mix. Defensively, this defense has been together for 3 years straight, and people are trying to say that the Rhine Fire aren't going to be as good as they were in the past. They may take a little drop, but they're not going to have a drastic drop that everyone's expecting. As a matter of fact, Ryan Fire is the number one team in my eyes, right? A defense wins championships, right? And I will die on that until proven otherwise. I think this is going to be a great matchup. I don't think these two quarterbacks have ever played each other, Chad Jeffries and Ben Holmes. So that even gives it another aspect to it, an exciting matchup. In my opinion, in this game, in Dusseldorf, coming off a bye week, they know the team they're getting, right? Chad Jeffries out to prove something. I'm rocking with the Fire. I'm rocking with the Fire in this game. I think it's going to be closer. And for all of us, I hope it is closer than what the championship game was. But I'm rocking with the Fire to get the dub and get the win. All right? Locker Room, drop a comment if you haven't already. Let me know what you think. Subscribe to the channel. Let me know what you guys think. I appreciate your support. Continue to support. Share the video with a friend, and we'll keep this thing going. And a couple of instant reactions coming this weekend, so tune into those as well. And tomorrow, Vienna's going to like this. Our alumni guest picker is